You know, one of my favorite songs, I Got You Though. What'd he say? I'm cancerous, so when I dish, you wouldn't want to answer this if you responded back with a battle rap you wrote for cannabis. I strangle you to death and I choke you again and break your legs till your bones poke through your skin. But I don't get pissed, I don't even see through the mist. How the f could I be white? I don't even exist. That killed that boy. Just being such a sponge as a kid and just absorbing all like the music I would listen to, just cramming my head with it, not really giving a f about school or homework or really anything else besides music, you know, like just that's all I cared about. So it was kind of easy to remember all that shit. That was like, you know, my only focus.
In this clip from Juice WRLD's appearance on Mont Reality, we see one of the cornerstones that made him an unlikely titan among the ranks of freestyle rappers. Step number 1, always be obsessed with the skill. Although he's perhaps best known as one of the leading lights of hip-hop's melodic wave, the late Chicago-born rapper lesser known as Gerard Anthony Higgins was formidably talented when it came to simply crafting syllables and bars off the top of his head. And as to how he got that way, it's clear that at the core of his propensity for rapid-fire internal penmanship was that he was absolutely besotted with the art of freestyling and what that creative experience entailed. So, like Juice, you too should allow yourself to be obsessed with it as much as he was. Although he arrived in an era where the ability to place faith in your natural creativity and conjure up rhymes from what feels like thin air wasn't a priority, Juice's decision to constantly advance his adeptness in this area was ultimately one of the most versatile tools at his disposal that bled both into his recorded output and the endless videos of him spitting for hours that can be found across YouTube. A love affair which legitimized him to the supposed old heads that had built up a tendency to scornfully overlook anyone whose approach to rap veered towards the melodic side. To watch him freestyle was to watch him solving equations in real time, finding his pocket and locking in on a rhyme scheme while always thinking ahead to the next adjoining bars or a logical point to pivot to another flow. And quite simply, this wouldn't be possible without the degree of immersion that he permitted for himself. After all, Juice began to spit bars while his mental faculties were still developing, and as such, it carved a pathway into his brain.
It's been something that's been in my life though, my whole life. And I think I started like freestyling when I was real young. I think maybe about 2nd or 3rd grade.
Did you start freestyling? Or you start or just get like really enjoying music?
Oh, I've been enjoying music for forever.
No one's suggesting that you find a time machine or that you lead with the same impenetrable single-mindedness as him, but that doesn't change the fact that if you wish to have the skills to demolish any beat that's put in front of you at a moment's notice, then it has to become an everyday consideration that encroaches in moments beyond the freestyle arena itself. If you'd like to be able to practice freestyle daily at the level of a Juice WRLD with drills, guided trainings, and even beats to practice on, click the link in the video description to take part in our 2-week course, Freestyle Fortnite, where you'll be able to master the art of freestyle rap in 2 weeks or less and begin rhyming like Juice WRLD, because freestyling ability isn't God-given. It has to be nurtured, and Juice did that to the extent that it became as simple as breathing. And that brings us directly into the next teaching in the book of Juice WRLD. Step number 2, don't overthink the freestyle.
Well, my music is like, I don't overthink it. Music is really just, people love to hear something that came out that's good, that's natural, that doesn't sound forced, it sounds authentic. People love that. So even certain breaths and little sounds that people make in between the words that they say make the song a hit. Just like the cadence of the way that they breathe it and the way their mouth is like moving. You know, you can fix your mouth to talk in like a different voice, and it's just, I just let what flows out of me flows. So if it's something that sounds like it needs to be spazzed on, I spaz, but like I try not to overthink.
You never write, right? Never. You just go in there and go crazy. It's like a completely different art form. It's like it's like boxing versus UFC.
No, it's like freehand versus tracing.
But you don't think that, that you could end up with something better if you sometimes wrote some stuff?
No, I could write sometimes. When I'm really down, I could write raw. That's different. Not on a regular basis, I'm not gonna pick up my phone and start typing, nor pick up a notepad and start scribbling. I'm gonna go in there and freehand.
For Juice, the process of refining his rhymes in the traditional sense simply didn't hold weight. Instead, what he has termed as his freehand approach allows for his brain to operate in a tangential way. As a result, he opened himself up to the entire spectrum of possibilities without pressuring himself. After all, Juice didn't even necessarily realize that Lucid Dreams, the very track that made him into a superstar, amounted to anything more than just another song. But once again, this sense of creatively beneficial freedom isn't something that'll simply emerge overnight. In order to be able to renounce that tendency to overanalyze, the brain has to be callous to letting creativity flow. In freestyling, that organic feel is pivotal and requires a degree of trust in yourself. So, much like Juice espoused in an interview, it might be handy to cultivate a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-image, which will help you trust in yourself. Some artists not only have good music, but good personalities as well. I don't want to brag about myself, but people have told me that my personality matches my music, as in it has quality, as in it's genuine and real, he told NME. With me, people don't have to separate the art from the artist. By believing in his own likelihood to succeed in any given situation pertaining to rhyming, Juice performed in a way that was not only hugely impressive, but uninhibited. And when it comes to how he made himself into a beacon of hope for those that felt the art had been lost, this would have been an impossibility if he entered the game with any degree of reticence about his approach. So, next up, we have another key component that made Juice who he was, and that is step number 3, his ability to suppress fear of failure or judgment.
Huh? Freestyle? Yeah. I freestyle. Come on, I'll rap off the dome too. Ready? Yeah. Hey, hold on. Wait. I'm on beats like Dr. Dre. I get money every day. If I locked up, that's okay. Boy, I bet I beat the case. I ball out like fadeaway. I'm gonna cut like razor blade. It's a drill. If you f with my money, feel like major pain.
Willing to spit at the drop of a hat, sometimes for upwards of an hour on radio shows, this video demonstrates Juice's innate belief in his abilities and, above all else, his distinct lack of concern with failing. In any walk of life, that self-preserving concern over being made to look foolish is perhaps the #1 barrier to taking the leap into finding the success you deserve, and that's no different with freestyling. Let's not forget, Juice was so content with what he was delivering, and his ability to recover that a moment where he floundered remained on his album unedited. On Feeling from Death Race for Love, boy, it ain't no I in team, but it's an M-E in team. I mean, it's a me in team. I know I just f***ed up, but I'm still the freestyle king. While this may be seen as a cardinal sin by some, this rawness and willingness to momentarily falter is part of what made listening to Juice so engaging, and it's something that you, in your own way, would do well to uncover and embrace. As when you put in the time and don't put too much of an emphasis on perfectionism, you can even endure an interruption and immediately hop back in the pocket. Able to parlay what's going on in his surroundings into his bars, what Juice is saying might not be the most elaborate bar work you've ever heard, but it's inherently thrilling to hear. As is often the case, Juice was acutely aware that sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it.
I could do what I want with a song. If I had a good idea, like a good mindset, I could make like lit music, you know what I'm saying? Even if I'm talking about something that's completely random, it's the energy that the song has that'll make it a good song. How do you think people get on the radio with saying one word for 2 minutes?
The idea is likely blasphemous to some, but minimalism has had its place since the outset of the genre. As such, even if you're intent on delivering verbal virtuosity with an incredibly diverse array of obscure phrases, or you're aiming to keep it simplistic, Juice's lesson here is you can't underestimate delivery nor energy, as sometimes when Juice is even using his stock phrases during a freestyle, it can ring with more efficacy than the most dexterous wordplay. At At the end of the day, it all just depends on what the track or moment requires. Thus, you must be malleable and above all, prepared. But on that same token, it shouldn't always be treated with the utmost severity, as don't lose sight of the fact that when you first started rhyming, it wasn't for acclaim, but for the love of doing so. You need to safeguard that love and share yourself with the world on your terms.
And how did you know you had turned the corner from people paying a lot of attention to you from SoundCloud?
I didn't. It just kind of hit me. It's like I ain't never really pay for publicity. I ain't never. All I used to do is drop music and repost it on my Twitter.
Did you feel like at one point, Juice, that you were dropping music? Like, did you know people were paying attention, or were you just dropping music like, I'm just gonna flood?
I was just dropping music when I felt it was time.
Is that a hard adjustment going from the liberties of posting whenever you want, putting your own timeline, to that now being in the industry and people demanding things from you?
I mean, at the end of the day, I can post whatever on SoundCloud. You know what I'm saying? I can post whatever on SoundCloud.
In every possible way, Juice was indebted to music as it was his path and passion in life. So for him, even as the millions rolled in, the business was always secondary. Never a vocational necessity nor a chore to undertake, but the thing that kept him ticking, Juice was perpetually stockpiling music, with some estimates suggesting that there remains an incredible amount of unheard Juice WRLD tracks still lingering in the archives. I have so much music that I don't need to bring something back old, he informed Forbes in 2019. I probably have over 1,000 songs. That's my release, and the songs just pile up. I'm recording every day, making like 5 to 10 songs a day, mostly. Simply put, Juice's ravenous appetite for creating is something that every freestyle rapper should seek to emulate. Not to mention his hellacious work ethic. This is the man who famously did Death Race for Love in 72 hours and laid down its second single, Hear Me Calling, after he'd ran through every other beats that Purps of 808 Mafia had provided for him.
The day we worked on Hear Me Calling, I think we did like at least 3 tracks prior to that. It was probably like 4 in the morning. We were super tired. We were just like, okay, we're gonna knock out one more. I play him the beat and he's like, oh, damn, what's that? I'm like, oh, I didn't really want to play that beat. And he's like, hold on, play it. Loads it up. Kid knocked it out in like 40 minutes, freestyled the whole thing. The record was done.
Seen as an outlet for what was occurring within him, Juice would simply grab a beat, turn the mic on, and go. Not only keeping his sharpness intact, but creating beauty along the way. Rhyming was embedded into his everyday processes and resided at the forefront of his heart. As such, this meant that when that red light went on and a producer looked at him expectantly, he wasn't straining, but slipping into a familiar pattern of thinking. And if you can prioritize the construction of bars and reason for being in much the same way Juice WRLD did, there's no reason why you can't become just as revered as he was in that respect. Now, I want to see you in the comments. Which is the best off-the-top freestyle you've heard from Juice WRLD on YouTube or somewhere else? And of course, if you're a rapper yourself watching that, be sure to check out our Master the Art of Freestyle in 2 weeks or less course in the video description. I've been your host, Drew Marcy, the big homie Drew for How to Rap. I'm out.